Hello friends of Sudoku and welcome to an expert puzzle by País. We'll get started right away. Today is the 28th of January 2024 and this is today's puzzle on their website. And as usual, you can find a link to this game in the description for this video. The very first thing that I see is that 1 and a 6 block here and a 1 and a 6 block here. So these two squares have got to be a 1 and a 6. The 6 blocks up, so here's a 1 and here's a 6. That was a very easy and quick start. We have now a 7 blocking down here and up here and across here. So here's 7. And we have an 8 blocking down and up. Therefore, this must be an 8. It is now clear that since this 3 blocks down and this 3 blocks here, that one of these two squares must be a 3. So a ghost 3 here blocks down, this 3 blocks down, and this 3 blocks across. Here's a 3. For a possible later use, I see this 5 blocking here. This 5 blocking here, therefore one of these is going to be a 5. And I'm going to have a 5 in one of these 3 positions in block number 4. Now let's have a look at column 9. We need a 2, 4, 5 and a 9 for these squares here. There's a 2, 9 and a 5 here. So here's a 4. The 2, 5 and the 9 I can't do much with at the moment. But now let's have a look at these empty squares. We need to find a 1, 3, 7 and an 8. We have a 3, 8 and a 7 already blocking this square. It must be a 1. And the 3, 7, 8 must go in these 3 squares here. And having found this 1, that blocks here and this 1 that blocks here and here, we know that one of these must be a 1 blocking up. This 1 blocks down, this 1 blocks over. So along with a 5 in one of these 3 squares, we also are going to have a 1 in one of these 2 squares. I think we figured out that a 5 must go in one of these squares here, didn't we? Because this 5 blocks across, this 5 blocks down, one of these must be a 5 blocking up. So this can't be a 5. And it is pretty limited in what it can be then, because it cannot be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as we said. It can be a 6, but not a 7, 8, or a 9. So it must be a 6. This 6 blocks up, and this 6 blocks up, this 6 blocks across. So here's a 6. Now, this 9 blocks here, and this 9 blocks here and here. So one of these must be a 9 blocking up. This 9 blocks up. So a 9 goes here or here. And you know what else will have to go in these 2 squares? A 2. So we got 9 and 2 for these 2 squares. Since this is 7 now blocks here, we know that one of these must be a 7. Blocking across, this 7 blocks across and this 7 blocks up. Here's a 7. These 2 7s block all of these 6 squares, and this 7 blocks this square. So here's a 7. And now this must be a 7 because of these 2 7s blocking everything else in box 7. This 7 blocks up. This 7 blocks across, this 7 blocks across, 7 goes here. And now we know that this is a 7. And here we're looking for an 8 and a 3. The 8 blocks over, here's a 3. and here's the 8. So we talked about a 9 briefly, didn't we? The 9 that blocks here and here. We now know that this is a 9. And here we are going to be looking for a 4 and a 1. Here we are going to be looking for a 5 and an 8. The 8 blocks over. Here's a 5. And here is the 8. And this square has got to be a 4. Which blocks across here? This 4 blocks across here. And therefore we have a 4 here. Now the 1 and the 5 here for these 3 squares is now joined by an 8. And we have our good old friends, the 2 and the 9 pair up here. We're going to have a 4 in one of these 2 squares. We're going to have 5 in one of these 2 squares. And the 2 and the 9 in the 2 remaining squares in this box up here. But I don't know where to place those. But that means that this must be a 2 or a 9 because it cannot be a 4 or a 5. That is a little help. Here, a 3 and an 8. So let's make a status. Where are we at? Where can we find the next number? 2, 5, and 9 for these squares. I can't place any of those. Or we can place a 3. Yes, we can place a 3 because this 3 blocks here and here, and this 3 blocks here. So here's the 3. Now 1, 2, and a 5 for these squares. Give me something. Oh, that something might just be an 8 because of these 2 8s blocking across. So here's an 8, yes. Now 2, 4, and a 9 for these squares. This 4 blocks here, this 4 blocks here. So here's a 4. 2 and 9 here, 2, 9 here, 2, 9 here. Wow. And 2, 9 here. But I believe we mentioned that we are going to look for a 3 and an 8 in these 2 positions. And now we found this 8. We know that this must be a 3 and this must be an 8. This 3 blocks across and this 3 blocks up. So a 3 goes here. 3 blocks down, 3 blocks up, and 3 blocks across. Here's 3. 2 and 5 here now. Oh, we also have 2 and 9 here. How about that? 2, 5, 9. Since this 5 blocks here and this 5 blocks here, there can be no doubt that this must be a 5. That 5 now blocks across, this 5 blocks up, giving me a 5 here. Now we have 2 5s blocking 2 squares, so this must be a 5. We also remember that one of these squares had got to be a 1. This 1 blocks over, so here's a 1. And the last square has got to be an 8. Now we have 8s blocking down and up and over and over. Here's an 8. 2, 9, and 6. But now we can solve for the 9 at least because this 9 blocks over. So here's a 9. This is a 2 and a 6. And this is a 2. That leaves only one square in the row to be solved, and that is a 1. And one square in this row must be a 9. Here, 2 and a 4. 2 and 4. What do we do about the 2 and the 4? Apparently nothing yet. And a 2 and a 6 here, also nothing yet. But I'm sure we can figure out what goes here. And that looks to be a 5. 2 nines here, because why not? 2 nines seems to be the theme. And I'm sure I could figure something out by spotting a chain, a colored chain of the 2s and the 9s. Let's try to do this without any pattern magic. For example, we could enter a 5 here if we really, really wanted to, and I do want to, because we have a 5 blocking up here and here. So here's a 5, and now we know that this is a 5, and we have 2s and 9s here, and a 1, 2, and a 6 for these remaining squares. The 1, of course, must go here, because this one blocks across and this one blocks up. So here's a 1, and here is a 4, because this 4 blocks here. And now finally a 2 that must go here, and therefore we have a 2 here, and we have a 2 here and here and here and here. This therefore is a 9 and a 9 and a 9 and a 9. What goes here? A 6 goes here. Therefore a 6 goes here. This is a 1. That gives me a 1 over here. And it gives me a 4 here, and therefore a 4 here. That's it. Yes, the 2s and the 9s barked me for the longest time, and once we found a single 2, everything unraveled and puzzle solved itself. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.